Hey guys, I've got another video for you today. It's going to be another deck guide, bit of gameplay, you know the drill. So let's jump right into it. Today it's a bit of Bran, uh, one of my favorite leaders, definitely for Skellige. Pretty good right now. Lots of ways you can build him, but today deck's going to be focused on the Berserker Marauders with Bearmasters as well, and lots of ways to revive them. So that's going to be the deck style here. A little bit different to the boats deck that I showed a while ago. This one isn't new per se, but I've been revisiting it, playing a few games with it, and it's pretty strong right now. Quite good. I might even bring it to Challenger. Who knows? But yeah, let's just go over all the cards, shall we? So first we got the Bran, obviously the leader is going to be discarding three cards from your deck. And these are going to be Ceres and Crate, which is going to be resurrecting itself after four other resurrect effects happen. So things like the Priestess of Freya and the Bone Talisman, as well as Morkvarg and Olgierd, which carry over, effectively resurrecting themselves in between rounds. So yeah, Ceres is one of the discard targets, and then Olgierd and Morkvarg as well. Going to be good ones. They're obviously going to provide some carryover, some bodies which also have the cursed tag, allowing for Berserker Marauder value to be higher. So lots of nice synergy there, and of course, as I said, they're going to be activating Ceres' effect throughout the game. So that's a really nice combo. Allows for a lot of carryover value and just a lot of big point swings in round 2 and round 3. Really going to be the strength of this deck. So that's the leader and what he's doing. Obviously, we cover Ceres. Coral, staple card in Skellige. Really strong gold. Solid removal. Super good against great swords. Ronvid in Hensel. Big alchemy unit. There's all sorts of things you can hit, even just Death Wish units to deny that synergy. Coral's super good in most matchups. Yeah, really nice control card. Heim then is the next one, also in a lot of Skellige decks. These golds tend to be pretty fixed because they're so good, right? And obviously this card is playing a bronze or silver cursed unit. We have a lot of those. The Berserker Marauders are in fact cursed, along with, Skjal, Ulderich, which we'll get to in a minute. Olgierd and Morkvargar as well, but obviously you're pulling them out of the deck immediately with the brand, so not too relevant. And obviously him has the other option of creating a silver unit if it ever is potentially going to brick. So really good gold card there. Yeah, also just spy access is really important, right? Getting the Ulderich whenever you need it, especially with things like Bruver and Henselt going around, which really rely on getting their spy out and abusing the coin flip in a lot of ways. So next up is Muzzle. This one's another control card. Similar to Coral, we just want to shut down Greatswords, Arc Spores, yeah, any real engine that could be a threat. Can also just be, 16 points, whatever, but really shines in some matchups. And also you can counter Muzzle if the opponent takes your Morkvarg, which is actually quite common with things like Melena and, opponents having Muzzle. All-around solid card. You could swap this out for Igni or maybe Dandelion Poet, whatever you want really, but Muzzle is a solid choice. So that's the golds. Ulderich, we always want our Spy. Spy is really top notch these days, and obviously the Heim and the Skell are making it even better. Skell is pulling out a random bronze or silver curse unit, and you can control this effect if you have, Ulderich in hand or all of your Marauders in hand, but those are the targets he's going to hit, so just be aware of that. Really big point swing, or another way to guarantee your Spy, so really solid card there. We talked about Olgierd and Morkvarg already. They're your carryover units. Next up, we have Sigdrifa. She's staple in most Skellige decks, as well as Restore. Both just very powerful resurrect effects that you can use later in the game. Restore doesn't actually trigger the Ceres effect, so just be aware of that. Sigdrifa does. Restore, on Beastmaster, Spear Maiden, low strength unit, you want to buff it up big and play it out. So pretty strong card there. Now we're on to bronzes. We've got the Marauders. These are getting better and bigger the more curse units you have. There's an interesting synergy there with the Bearmasters because they are spawning bears, which, if you can see here, the bear is an 11 strength cursed beast, so it does have the curse tag. It will make Marauders better. Definitely something to keep in mind as you want to play the Bearmasters out, and you want to resurrect bears before playing your Marauders for maximum value, especially in round 3, where you're trying to get as many points as possible. And next we have Talismans, which are reviving either the bears from the Bearmasters or a Berserker Marauder. And they can also heal and strengthen up your units if you need some carryover, although, not too common to use that ability because it's pretty low tempo. Um, but that's there as well, and you've got the protectors to thin those out. Protectors are playing a bronze item, and the only bronze item here is Bone Talisman. So just be aware these can brick pretty easily, right? You have two protectors, you only have three talismans. If you play two talismans from hand, you're going to end up with a dead protector, right? So be careful of that. I mean, this deck's main weakness is the round one, especially with the Freyas as well. Resurrecting Bronze Soldier, so that's going to be either Marauders or Protectors or Bearmasters. Usually Bearmasters and Marauders, but occasionally you'll do a cheeky Protector Resurrect if you need to. And then Spear Maiden is there for some thinning of the Bearmasters and occasionally of Marauders. So, you can even pull out a Protector if you want to, but that's pretty uncommon. But yeah, as I was saying, the main weakness of the deck is the round one, definitely with a lot of resurrect effects and needing units in the graveyard. It can be quite tricky to push and win round one, but you have carryover and you have a lot of ways to get your spy to really maneuver in that round one, maybe get out of it at a good point and gain card advantage. And the deck really shines in round 2 and 3 with the carryover and with the long round capability of Marauder. So pretty strong deck and very interesting to play. I think, you know, not it's got some semi like quasi engines right with the Marauders, so sequencing's important, but then also all these resurrect effects and the kind of mini game that you play with Ceres I think is quite interesting. But anyway, that's the deck. I will jump into some gameplay now, so sit tight and enjoy. Alright, looks like we have an opponent. Bit of Harold, leader that's actually getting a little bit more popular these days with the Axeman, of course. Being that archetype. Should be interesting match. I mean, definitely a deck that shines in long rounds is Harold, so really going to want to shut that down and play a short round 3 out with the Ceres carryover and things like this. So mulligans, we're always going to be dropping Olgierd, Morkvarg, and Ceres. Sometimes you can keep Olgierd in hand if you're scared of something like Caretaker or Osrel from monsters. Dagon decks will often have that, so be wary. But here we don't want it. Often we can blacklist a different card if we don't want it, want any other copies of that. So I think here Bone Talisman is going to be performing that job. We don't really want more than one of those, so we'll get rid of it here. Cyrus is then very important to get rid of, and the Olgierd, as we said, don't want that either. So looking like a pretty good hand, a couple of golds, a couple of bronzes, but once again, I mean, we have, this is what I mentioned earlier, a lot of resurrect effects, which can be difficult to play in round one and can really slow you down there, so just be aware of that. That's the one weakness of the deck, of course. So often you're just going to want to start with the Bran. I mean, it's pretty safe. 7-point play. The Morkvarg, Olgierd, and Ceres, as we said. And really just setting up that carryover ready for later on in the game. Then we're going to play out Bearmasters typically until we're out of those, and then start dropping a few Marauders. And always looking for a good pass spot, right, to get a card or whatever, whenever that is possible. So, but here the opponent has just passed, so we can also do the same. Good thing we play the Bran first, because that way, we're getting our carryover on the board, out of the deck, and making sure we don't brick too hard here on the draws. Now, we can of course get rid of Bone Talisman again, or Freya if we don't want Freya's, but I think Talisman is a bit of a safer mulligan, since there are 2 of those in the deck and only 1 Freya. Want to be careful not to draw any more. Spear Maiden's a good draw. We'll be able to, fetch another Bearmaster, put one in the graveyard as well, allowing Freya to resurrect it. Should be good. And that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to start off with Bearmasters, really, get those cursed bears onto the board, making Marauders better. Worth noting that damaged units are also going to buff up Marauders, so, you can often damage, if Ceres gets damaged or Coral or things like this, or the enemy's spy, that's also going to count towards Marauder value. So definitely something to keep in mind there. Ceres popping out, that's always going to happen round 2, and that's fine. You just want to be able to have enough resurrect effects to bring her back into the fight in round 3. Pretty important to do that. And if you have the Olgierd, that's going to be 3 effects. If you have Morkvarg as well coming back, that'll be 2. So depends whether your opponent's damaged Morkvarg and killed him or not. And you can think about even strengthening him back up if you would like that extra resurrect. for the round three. But here, yeah, we're going to continue with the strategy. We could pull out a Bearmaster with the Spear Maiden, get that rolling. Um, it's kind of dangerous to commit to one row with against the Axemen because they have, things like Skellige Storm and Lacerates, and obviously you're giving them a row to play their Axemen on, which a little bit less than ideal, but here I think it's okay. Kind of better than playing into multiple rows of weather, I think, for the moment at least. And yeah, once again, Bearmaster going to be a solid choice. I think since we've committed already heavily to this row, we can go ahead and drop another Bear and Bearmaster in that middle row. Starting to see, the power of the cursed, synergies here with the Bear, with the Berserkers. Um, Already 4 extra value on each of these. And that'll only ramp up every time you drop a Marauder, the next Marauder's even better, right? So, because each of them are cursed as well. And obviously we've got the Heim in hand. We might want to play Skell into Marauder here for some points. I think that's what we're going to go with. Just get a few more cursed bodies on the board. The Heim and the Skell also curse themselves, so they boost up the Marauders as well. Lots of potential points, and we can commit to a different row now. Should be okay. I mean, there's not enough space on that middle row, unfortunately. That Avalak does draw us into muzzle, which is very fortunate. We can take his Axeman. There is enough space on this road to do that, so I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Deny the engine before it gets going. We have Coral to deny another Axeman. Really good. Will be useful to do that. And here comes the Storm that does enable, the Freyas if should we want to play them in this round. And honestly, since we really want a short round 3 against Axemen, we're probably okay to play, 1 or 2 Freyas here. Just for some extra, Marauder value in this round. Should be okay. Remember the Bears are giving, I mean, it might be obvious at this point, but the Bears are giving the Marauders more points. Want to play those earlier. Duran does come down. It's a pretty scary card. Going to be getting him a lot of value. We are, significantly ahead at the moment, though. Been playing a lot of points each turn, 12 minimum with the Bearmasters, so not too shabby. And the real question becomes, do we want to resurrect more Beastmasters, or are we going to just, play our Marauders out and maybe go to that round 3? I think here we're probably happy to play another Freya out. For the same reason of, wanting to have a really short round 3. So that should be good. And Coral will be able to deny one of either Duran or the Axeman, which is really nice. Oh, big lacerate value coming in though. He'll definitely be happy about that one. But honestly, as long as we have a short round 3, we're not too bothered about, losing a card here. Our carryover will mean that we can probably win the game a card down. And that's not just against Axemen, against a lot of decks that will be the case. Coral's also providing a really nice swing should we need that, although I don't think we need it just yet. We could probably go with a Marauder, maybe the third one, before our bears start to die off and make the Marauders a little bit weaker. So that should be good. We've also got Ulderic to play the Spy. He'll probably have a counter Spy, which is why I'm holding on to it for the moment. Maybe better to get the bronze cards out of hand before playing our Spy, but who knows. Got a bit of Harpooner action coming in. And I think I do want to, jettison this last Marauder before the bears die. I mean, another play we could think about is Protector to strengthen and heal one of these bears. I might actually go with that here. Again, playing for that really short round 3. We want to get rid of as many cards here as possible, so, why not play one Protector? We should draw into a Freya either with the Ulderic or on the draw next round, so that will be the 3 resurrect effects that we need, hopefully. And, we can always use Coral to bridge a big gap if we need to do that, if we want to do that. Alternatively, saving her for round 3 will be good. We can deny an Axeman or a Res on the Duran, for example. But here, yeah, Marauder sounds good. Just another big point play. He isn't able to pass because of the Coral in hand, so good to have that going in our favor. Although, if he has a Spy, which is very likely, things like Heim and Skull are going to pull it for him. Then we're not going to get a card here, but that should be okay as long as the round is very, very brief, which at the moment it's looking like it will be. Honestly, I'm not even sure if we have enough points to catch up. I imagine we will do, all our reses are online and the Ulderic will draw us into a new card, so I'm happy playing the Ulderic out here. And tricky choice, but I think we do want to pick up the Freya. It's a little bit more flexible than the Bone Talisman. Probably needing to be mulliganed away as well. But it seems like he doesn't have his spy, which is really good news. Um, at this point, we've probably got the round short enough. We've seen an Avalak from the opponent. I'd say it's quite safe to pass here. If we don't use the Coral as well, right, we can have that for round 3, which should be really nice to remove an Axeman or a Duran, which are kind of his win cons in the round 3. So here we'll just get out the round. We've made the round quite brief. We've actually got a card from him, which is really good. And we've, enabled all our resurrect effects, put things in the graveyard for the Freyas, the Sigdrief, and the Talisman, so that's looking good. The deck right now is Restore and a Talisman. Obviously, we want to keep everything here, otherwise Protector would brick, so we'll hold on to this. And that's another great thing about this deck, is it can thin the whole thing in some cases, which is really neat. Not a lot of decks do that at the moment. A lot of thinning here and a lot of power. Like you'll see in this round, the amount of points we can generate really quite quickly will be kind of crazy. So first play, we either want to res the bear here or we want to res the Bearmaster. Now you've got to work out how much Marauders will be worth in this length of a round. I think Restore's always safe on the Bearmaster here, so we'll play that first. We'll also get a bit of, value from the Bearmaster being hit by weather. That's going to make Marauders slightly better, right? Bear in mind, Sigdrifa can also only res the Bearmaster. She cannot res Marauders or Bears, so just be aware of that. I've made that mistake, in the past. Don't do that. Bad idea. But here, I mean, we could even consider going into 2 rows just to make the value of an Axeman a little bit worse, but honestly, with this many cards in hand, probably not too worth it. We'll probably just drop the Sigdrifa for now, pick up another Bearmaster. Seems like the best thing we can go for here. Grabbing that second bear for the Marauders. Marauders right now are going to be worth 12 points. So the 14 strength bear that we've buffed up with the talisman is actually going to be, a little bit better than the Marauder res. So with Protector here, we're gonna res that 14 strength bear. Here we go, pretty big play. Whatever. I'm gonna put it in a different row just because I think Ceres will pop out and shouldn't make too much of a difference here. That Axeman, however, is already committed, to the back row, so maybe questionable to do that. And we are giving him a big whaler, it turns out, but whatever. That's not the end of the world. I think we can go with just a simple coral here. We want the Sigdrifa to get damaged by the weather before we play that last Berserker Marauder, because we'll get an extra point. So coral onto Ran now or in the future would equate to the same thing, so we can go ahead and do that. And then last play, just a cheeky Berserker Marauder. Turns out he does have a Lacerate, so that line of play didn't really make a difference, but worth keeping in mind. And the Freya will be pulling out that, just check, Marauder isn't more value than Bearmaster. 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's a 13, so it is 1 point extra, we'll take that. And Ceres will pop out for another 7 points, sealing the deal quite comfortably. Really showing the power of the deck. He's got a 17-point Axeman, but we're still winning by 10 points, whatever. But yeah, that was a game. I hope you guys enjoyed very much. Send this lovely chap a good game. And yeah, if you do pick up this deck, I hope you enjoy it. Definitely keep in mind, the round 1's dangerous, but apart from that, very nice, very strong deck, a lot of carryover potential. Tailbot did play this in the most recent Gwent Open, or a deck very similar to this at least. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it at Challenger as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope this video has been useful, and I will see you next time.